part of their regular training schedule was their schedule of going to the sports psychologist. And what that consisted of was visualizing the psychologist leading them through the imaginal realms, imagining and seeing themselves doing whatever it is they were wanting to do, right? Breaking the record, being able to hit the triple toe loop or what, standing on the podium with the medal, right? And that it was very much this active imagination, and the training the mind to be able to envision it was the ability for it to come closer to its own manifestation. And we do it all the time in our yoga practice. But when we actually step in and really cultivate it as part of our yoga practice, bringing the imaginal mind, the mind's ability to link certain things together, like this is like that, then we can go deeper into the experience of the practice because we know what this other thing felt like or what that action would be. You've heard me say, a million times, squeeze your legs together like scissors are closing, right? You can imagine that in your mind. You know what that is sort of like. And when we take that further out off of the mat and into our lives and into this world culturally and socially, and a world where so many of us are really not only standing up as incredible sacred warriors and sacred activists, but have to be able to stand up and envision and imagine what it is that we actually are wanting to pull forth. We have to be able to conjure it in our mind before we can manifest it into the world. Problem is that we've really lost a lot of our ability to imagine. We don't. If we watch, like most movies, not all movies of course, but like movies and TV, so much of it is just sort of taking the regular experience and us watching it, or an exaggerated version of experience, right? And they're great. I love me a good rom-com or a good mystery TV drama, but the ability to imagine has faltered a little bit. It gets brought back into your life if there's children into your life, because they'll talk about crazy things and you're like, wow, I can't even imagine that. They're telling you exactly what that being looks like and you're like, I can't even imagine it, right? And then oftentimes we get into the worlds of doing yoga and being spiritual seekers and being sacred activists and all these things. And you go and you look at your bookshelf or you look by your bed and there's not one piece of fiction anywhere nearby or mythology. You've just got the how-to this and the spiritual that and the essays on tyranny this and everything, and you're like, where's the imagination? And so what we have to do, I think, at this really critical juncture of where we are is to say, okay, I actually, as part of my work, not only in my yoga practice, but of my work as a being who has embodied at this time on the planet, is to actively cultivate my mythic mind. My ability to imagine beyond the norm. And the mythic mind is in many ways, it's not just the rational mind, but it's the mind that's set and that runs itself between the creative center in the pelvis. For the women, it's the womb space, whether or not there's a physical womb, the womb space, and for the men, an energetic similar space called the hara. And that our imaginal mind, our ability to conjure and imagine something different and new, runs between that space and really your third eye center. And that these two are informing and working with each other in order to create whole new worlds, right? Like, how did J.K. Rowling come up with like whole new worlds? How did Tolkien come up with all these worlds and even languages? You know, for that matter, our own cultural mythology of the Star Wars. Started to say trilogy, that's about 20 years old. All of the Star Wars trilogies, that even languages and worlds and planets are all created, and yet all of these things are speaking to us a particular truth. And mythology allows us to see ourselves and to see the world in greater truth, because there's just enough difference between us and Durga, who has 22 million arms, or Ganesha, who is, you know, somewhat human and somewhat elephant, or Hanuman, who's somewhat monkey and somewhat God. That these things that are just sort of like us but not quite like us, and then, as one of my teachers would say, and nothing but us, allow enough of a separation to see ourselves more clearly and to be able to envision the world and the society and the culture that we actually really want to begin to manifest. So today, we're deep in the imaginal mind. So please take a moment and close your eyes.